In the deep dark of space, silence is rare. Ships hum, radios buzz, and stars whisper their burning light. But one day that noise stopped. The Xarn Empire lost contact with Fleet 97 near the edge of the galaxy. They thought it was a system failure. So they sent another ship. Then another. None returned. The Grand Council laughed. Humans? One senator scoffed. They were defeated a century ago. Gone. Dust. But old General Raleigh didn't laugh. His eyes, tired and scarred, stared at the empty space map. They're not gone, he whispered. We just forgot how patient they are. Many species had fought in the Great Human War 100 years ago. They came together, powerful, proud, and sure of victory. And for a while it looked like they had won. Earth burned. Mars went dark. Human ships vanished. But no body was ever found. No final message. No surrender. They just disappeared. And now something was happening again. A merchant vessel called Skyfin drifted into orbit around the Cernak trade station. It was damaged, its engines melted, hull torn like paper. Only one survivor remained. A Cernak technician pulled him from the wreck, and the creature screamed in terror. They're back, it cried. They're watching. They were waiting for us. The technician asked, Who? The creature's eyes widened. Humans. The message spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Still, many refused to believe. Just a pirate attack, they said. Ghost stories. Fear makes fools of us. But then came the Dreadnought incident. A Xarn Dreadnought, Pride of Stars, was found drifting between sectors. No signs of battle. No missiles fired. Just silence. The crew was gone. Every system was dead. Its AI memory core had been erased. In the center of the bridge, carved into the metal floor, was a single word: remember. The Galactic news covered it for weeks. Experts guessed it was a rebel group, maybe some ancient AI returning from exile. No one said the word human out loud. Not yet. But in the shadows of the council, old warriors remembered. General Raleigh visited the ruins of an old listening post on the moon of Delra 9. It had been abandoned since the Human War. Dust covered the control panels. Silence filled the halls. But when he powered it on, something unexpected happened. A signal. A human voice, old, cracked, distorted, echoed through the speakers. We remember everything. We remember the fires. We remember who struck first. Raleigh froze. The voice continued. We are coming back. Not for peace. For balance. Raleigh rushed back to the council. They're not ghosts, he shouted. They are real. And they're angry. The council laughed again. One message. That's not proof. But deep inside, some of them started to worry. Reports came in from outer sectors. Whole stations missing. Patrols vanishing. The stars themselves seemed colder. And then the most terrifying thing of all happened. The Obelisk, a research station floating near a black hole, sent its last transmission. No visuals, just a voice. It whispered, it's here. Then, silence. Forever. The Obelisk never spoke again. Galactic leaders began to meet in secret. They whispered the word human like a curse. Like a monster hiding under the bed, something you only say if you want nightmares. But it was too late. In a hidden sector, in a place once known as Sol, an ancient signal pulsed through space again. Earth was alive, and it was listening. A ship powered up, its hull black, its engines silent, its shape unknown to any database. Not built for speed, not built for trade, built for war. It drifted out of the shadows, past the dead moons and ruined planets, alone, watching. Its AI came online. The ship's name burned across its interface, Wrath of Earth. Inside, a human stood in silence, looking at the stars. He smiled. We told them, he said quietly. Never forget us. And now the galaxy would learn that silence. is only scary when something powerful is hiding in it. In every corner of the galaxy, children hear stories before bed. Some are about heroes, some are about monsters, and in many alien homes, one story is told in whispers. Never wake the humans. But those were just old tales now. At least, that's what everyone believed. On the planet Crevax 3, young cadets at the War Academy laughed as their instructor told them about the human war. Myths, one said. Fairy tales. The instructor paused. Then he said, "Do you know how many ships we lost in that war? 5,000, in one battle." The room went quiet. They didn't fight like us. They used fear. They broke our minds before our bodies. The cadets still didn't believe. But in the back of the room, one older officer clenched his jaw. He had seen things he never told anyone. Meanwhile, deep in council space, an emergency meeting was called. Too many disappearances, too much silence. An advisor played recordings from destroyed outposts, garbled signals, static, screams, then a chilling sentence repeated in different languages. "We are the balance. We are the end." One council member stood up. "It's a trick, a pirate game." But General Rawlek shook his head. "No, it's them. They warned us long ago, but we didn't listen." The room went cold. Back on Crevax 3, something strange happened. An old ship landed in the desert. No ID code, no heat signature. It just appeared. Soldiers surrounded it, weapons ready. The door opened. Smoke poured out. And then, nothing. No movement, no sound. Just a strange humming like a song from long ago. Inside, they found a data cube glowing red. One brave soldier touched it. A hologram activated. A human face appeared, burned, tired, with cold eyes. He spoke slowly. "Once we asked for peace, you give us fire." His voice echoed, heavy and calm. "We left so you could forget, but you didn't." The message ended. The cube melted into ash. Fear spread quickly. Galactic media couldn't ignore it anymore. The headlines read, "Is humanity back? Ghosts of the human war return. Old myths, new reality?" Across the stars, people remembered the stories. Of human soldiers who didn't sleep. Of ships that moved through shadows. Of machines that cried like children, then exploded like suns. On the planet Varix, a retired commander was asked on live broadcast, "Are these stories true?" He looked into the camera and whispered, "Worse. The stories were soft. The truth was sharper." In a secret alien bunker, scientists tried to study the word carved into the dreadnought from Part 1. Remember. They found radiation inside the letters, like someone burned them in using a weapon made of light and gravity. "It's not possible," one said. But the data didn't lie. They'd also discovered something else. A hidden signal inside the word. A map. Leading home. To Earth. Panic began to spread. Fleets were scrambled. Defenses activated. But no one dared send ships to Earth. No one, except the Drakkar. A warrior species known for pride and strength. They had fought the humans before and barely survived. But now their new leaders were young, bold, and foolish. They called the stories weak. "They're just monkeys with guns," said one Drakkar general. "Let's remind them who rules now." The Drakkar launched a scout fleet. 20 ships, fully armed. They entered Sol System. Radio silent. At first, all seemed calm. No defenses, no signs of life. Just Earth, floating like a ghost. The Drakkar laughed. "Look at their planet. It's broken. They have nothing." Then they scanned Earth's surface. No cities. No lights. No humans. Just silence. But silence is never empty. Suddenly, their ships went dark. One by one. Engines died. Weapons froze. Screens turned black. Then a single message appeared on every screen. White text, black background. You came to our home. We never left. All 20 ships vanished from radar. The Drakkar government waited. No response, no signal. After 3 days, one ship returned, half destroyed, dragging itself through space. Inside, only one survivor remained, eyes wide, mind broken. He spoke just 2 words. They waited. In that moment, the galaxy changed. What was once a legend was now a warning. The humans have returned. And this time, they weren't going to hide. The galaxy still didn't believe. Even after the Drakkar fleet vanished, even after whispers filled every planet, many leaders still thought the humans were just a myth, a shadow, a scare. We need proof, said High Warlord Kern of the Zenter Union, not fear. And proof came loud, sharp, and deadly. In Sector 12B, a forgotten human colony was found on a small, cold planet called Alara 7. The scanner showed weak life signs, low tech, no ships. Just a few buildings and some heat. The Zenter laughed. This is it. This is what the galaxy fears. They sent 200 elite soldiers, trained, armed, ready to crush. The soldiers landed in the snow, their boots stomping heavy against the ice. They marched to the colony's gates. No resistance. Everything was still. They broke the gate. Inside were old homes, broken machines, quiet people. Humans. No weapons, no anger. Just calm, empty stares. A commander stepped forward. Submit, and we will be merciful. An old human man looked up. He smiled. You came, he said, just as we hoped. Before the Zenter could answer, the snow began to shift. The ground below them opened, metal doors sliding apart, hidden in ice. Turrets rose. But these were not ordinary weapons. They didn't fire bullets or lasers. They sang. A low, humming sound filled the air. The soldiers clutched their heads, screaming, falling to their knees. One shouted, "There, inside, my mind." Then came the light. Blades made of heat, drones shaped like birds, soldiers with skin that bent light around them. Humans in combat suits walked from beneath the snow. Not weak, not forgotten. Waiting, prepared, cold. The battle lasted only 6 minutes. The Zenter soldiers didn't die fighting. They died afraid. Only 3 escaped. One was found later on a cargo ship, curled into a corner, mumbling over and over. They knew we were coming. It was all a trap. Back in the capital, the footage was shown to the council. None could speak. One admiral said, "Their weapons, they're generations ahead of us." But General Rawlek shook his head. No, that was their bait. Their real power, we haven't seen it yet. Across the stars, panic grew. People stopped traveling near Earth. Stations were evacuated. But others, blinded by pride, still thought humans could be stopped. One of them was Admiral Vol of the Terrath Dominion. He believed in force. We will strike them before they rise again, he said. We will crush them now. He gathered 100 ships, heavy warcraft, AI-guided missiles, the strongest fleet Terrath had ever sent. Their mission: destroy the colony on Alara 7 and erase human presence from that sector. They arrived 1 cycle later, but the colony was gone. No buildings, no humans, no signs, just snow. Confused, Admiral Vols ordered scans. Then he noticed something strange. His fleet's ships were drifting. No control. AI systems started shutting down. His own command screen flickered. Then it changed. Black screen, white text. Again. This was never a colony. It was a mirror. Voss froze. He looked up. Around his fleet, strange shapes began to appear. Ships they had never seen before. Sleek, silent, covered in black armor with no lights. Human warships. They had been waiting. They didn't attack first. They closed the cage. And then the strike came. One human ship moved through the fleet like a shadow in water. Its weapons didn't fire in lines, they rippled. Entire turret ships folded inwards. Some vanished without a sound. Others exploded from the inside out. Human soldiers boarded without docking. Teleport tech no one had seen before. Voss gave the order, retreat. Too late. Only one turret ship escaped. Admiral Vols wasn't on it. That ship returned to the Tereth capital, but no one inside could speak. Not even the captain. He had scratched one word into the walls of the bridge, again and again. Awake. Now the galaxy understood. Humans weren't just stories. They weren't hiding. They were watching. And now, they were choosing when to strike. General Ralex stood before the council once more. No more jokes, he said. No more debates. We are at war. Somewhere in deep space, a massive human ship floated alone. On its side, glowing in red letters, were words that made every AI flinch when it tried to read them. Wrath of Earth. Inside, a human officer stood still, watching the stars. Another officer asked, "Shall we strike the next target?" The man didn't smile. He only nodded. "We told them," he said. "Never start what you can't finish." After the Tereth fleet was destroyed, fear spread like fire across every star system. The galaxy was no longer laughing. The humans were awake, and they were striking. Every day, a fleet vanished. Every night, another outpost went dark. No survivors, no signals, just a message. You were warned. On planet Sorlax, where 12 species met for the Grand Peace Council, panic filled the air. Generals shouted, diplomats begged, leaders blamed each other. A voice cut through the noise. "We must unite," said Chancellor Xir of the Velari. "This is no longer a human problem. It is a galactic one." The room went silent. For the first time in 1,000 years, all major powers agreed on one thing: stop humanity. They formed a new force, the Shield of Stars, an alliance army made from every corner of the galaxy. 10,000 ships, 50 species, billions of credits in tech. The largest fleet ever made. And their mission was clear: invade Earth. End this. But before the fleet could launch, something strange happened. Their AI systems slowed down. Navigation froze. Screens glitched. Then a single video appeared on every command ship, without warning. A human stood in a black room. Half his face was covered in metal. His eyes were calm, cold. He spoke slowly. "You gather ships. You build armies. But tell me," he leaned closer, "did you ever ask why we left?" The screen turned black. Then one word appeared. "Remember." The invasion fleet ignored the warning. They launched anyway. They crossed sector after sector. Nothing stopped them. No attacks. No traps. Just silence. It felt too easy. As they approached Earth's system, something happened. Every ship's radar picked up one small object. Just one. Not a planet. Not a ship. A pod, floating. They pulled it in. Inside was a human child, asleep. And a note. Written in hundreds of languages. "This is what you fear. A child. Imagine what we've become." Then the ambush began. Not from ships. Not from weapons. But from inside. On over 1,000 vessels, hidden devices activated. Humans had already planted virus seeds, years ago, during fake peace talks, trade deals, and research missions. Now they woke up. Engines shut down. Life support failed. Ships turned on each other. All in seconds. In panic, captains tried to retreat. But Earth was now surrounded. By human warships, each one silent, black, and deadly. From their hulls, strange energy glowed like fireflies. The humans didn't speak. They just watched. One general screamed, "Why don't they fire?" But the answer was clear. They didn't need to. The shield of stars collapsed without a shot. They were beaten by fear, not fire. Back on the Council worlds, chaos took over. Protests, riots, leaders hiding underground. Every screen showed the same message. We asked for peace, you asked for power. In deep space, a human fleet drifted past broken satellites. They moved like ghosts, silent, organized, unstoppable. On a small planet called Riva 9, where humans were once held as slaves centuries ago, statues stood, broken reminders of cruelty. Now those statues were melting. A human squad had returned, not to fight, but to erase history. One soldier placed a flag into the ground, not of Earth, but of something new, a symbol made of light and stars. No planets, no countries, just a name, the Forgotten Legion. Across the galaxy, stories began to change. Children were no longer told scary tales of monsters under the bed. Now they heard something else. Be kind, be wise, or the humans will come back. And this time, they won't stop. Some brave leaders tried one last time to talk. They sent peace envoys, gifts, messages of forgiveness. Only one human responded. An old woman with steel-gray hair and glowing eyes. She said, "Peace was your chance. Now you will learn balance." And then the connection ended. People started noticing strange things. Moons vanishing from orbit. Black ships watching from a distance, then fading. Dreams filled with voices saying one word, balance. The galaxy was not just afraid now. It was haunted by the name they once mocked. Human. General Rolex stood in the ruins of a destroyed command base. Fires crackled around him. He whispered, "We called them beasts. But they were mirrors. And we were the monsters." Somewhere far beyond Earth, on a hidden station known only as Echo Point, human commanders watched the galaxy. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. One of them said, "They think we want revenge." Another replied, "We want something worse." The first nodded, "We want memory." Time passed. Not much, but enough for fear to spread deeper than ever before. There were no more battles, no more fleets, no more plans. Because the galaxy had lost something worse than ships. They had lost hope. Leaders ordered silence. "Don't speak their name," they said. "Don't show the images." They blocked all videos. They banned the word human from official files. But it didn't help. The fear didn't go away. It got stronger. Because fear doesn't live in news feeds. It lives in memory. On planet Valeria Prime, the largest learning hub in the galaxy, students noticed something strange. Every time they tried to access old Earth records, the files were corrupted. But not deleted. The files weren't gone. They were rewriting themselves. One student, a young Zentari named Kila, opened an ancient audio file marked Earth broadcast, last message. The file played. A human voice spoke. "This is not war. This is not revenge. This is what happens when you forget who we are." Then silence. And Killa saw something strange. In her own reflection, for just a second, her eyes looked human. Soon, across the galaxy, memory glitches began. People dreamed of Earth even if they'd never been there. Maps showed planets that didn't exist, or shouldn't exist. AI systems reported human voices whispering during sleep cycles. It was like humanity had become a virus in the mind. Some called it the Phantom Code. Others whispered a darker name. The Memory War. Governments tried everything. They purged servers. They shut down ancient satellites. They even destroyed museums. But the more they erased, the stronger the memories came back. In deep space, a forgotten moon lit up after centuries. It had been a Terran listening post, long dead. Now it glowed with symbols in the snow. A message carved into the ice. We never wanted your stars. We wanted your respect. On the council world of Drethon 6, a strange event happened. A senator woke up with a word carved into her skin. Not written. Burned. She screamed, but no one could explain how it got there. The word? Balance. Religions started forming. People began to worship the humans, not as gods, but as warnings. Temples rose, not in praise, but in fear. They prayed, let them sleep, let them forget us. But some didn't want to forget. They wanted to learn. A small group of scientists and truth seekers formed the Echo Circle. They believed humanity had discovered something the rest of the galaxy never understood. Not just weapons, not just ships, but control over memory itself. They found old human writings. One book titled The Second Fire said, "True power is not what you destroy. It's what you make others remember forever." That's what humans were doing. They weren't killing species. They were planting memories, planting fear. Forever. One of the Echo Circle members, a soft-spoken being named Ruin, finally found coordinates to a hidden place. A place erased from all maps. A place called Sol Prime. Earth. They went. Just 3 ships. Not to attack, but to understand. When they arrived, they expected weapons. They expected death. But Earth was calm. Silent oceans. Green land. No cities. No towers. Just one giant tree standing where New York used to be. Its roots glowed. Its leaves shimmered with voices. As Run approached, he heard memories. A mother singing. A child laughing. Bombs falling. A soldier whispering, "We try to be good." The tree wasn't alive in the normal way. It was a living memory core, built by humans, fed by pain, and protected by silence. Rune touched the tree. Suddenly, his mind filled with every moment in human history. Not just war. Love, loss, rage, hope. He fell to his knees, crying. He understood. Humans didn't want war anymore. They wanted to become something else. A lesson. Back on Drethon 6, the Council received a message from the Echo Circle. Do not fear the humans. Fear what made them become this. Fear your own cruelty. Because that's where they were born. The Council didn't respond. They had no words left. Because every night now each council member woke up, screaming a word they didn't understand. Echo. Somewhere far away, inside a black ship that didn't exist on any map, a human woman watched the galaxy. She smiled softly. They remember now, she said. A man next to her nodded. Should we move to Phase 7? She looked out the window. No need, she said. The memory does the work now. The stars were quiet now. No warships roamed the skies. No battles lit up the night. Just silence. But it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that comes after the scream, when even the air feels afraid to move. People across the galaxy tried to return to normal. Shops reopened. Schools restarted. Flights resumed. But something had changed forever. Children still played. But they built their toy cities underground. Adults still laughed, but always looked over their shoulders when they did. And every time someone said Earth out loud, a hush fell over the room. The galaxy didn't hate humans anymore. They didn't even want to fight them. They just wanted one thing: to forget. But memory is a shadow. It follows you even when you run. On a quiet farming planet, a young boy asked his father, "Were the humans really monsters?" The father paused. "No," he said. "They were mirrors." Far above, on a dead space station once used to spy on Earth, one last file activated itself. It played a video of a human general. He was old, tired, his uniform faded. He spoke. "We didn't come to conquer. We came to warn. You thought we were the enemy, but we were your second chance." He looked directly into the camera. "What you feared in us was always inside you." Back in the core systems, a strange phenomenon started. Stars began blinking. Not dying, blinking. As if something was covering them. Telescopes picked up strange patterns in the light. After weeks of study, one scientist finally decoded it. It wasn't natural. It was a message, written in starlight. 4 words: "We are still watching." Panic broke out again. People thought it was the return of the humans. But it wasn't. No ships arrived. No weapons fired. Just the message, repeated across 1,000 skies: "We are still watching." On the council world of Drethon 6, the leaders met one last time. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to hide. One leader, an old Sarnathi named Vurex, stood up and said, "We tried force. We tried silence. We tried lies. But nothing stopped them." Why? He looked at them all. Because we never looked at ourselves. The council voted to disband itself. For the first time in history, there was no central power. Each world was told to rule itself. No more empires. No more grand fleets. Just memory. Years passed, and slowly, the stories changed again. But this time, no one lied. Children learned about Earth. About how humans were pushed too far. How they rose, not as conquerors, but as a warning. Tales were told of the Forgotten Legion, and the Tree of Memory, and the Whispers in the Stars. They weren't called monsters anymore. They were called the Keepers of Balance. On a distant moon, a child sat by a campfire. She looked up at the stars. They blinked again. A whisper passed through the night. She smiled and said, "Good night, Earth." Somewhere hidden beyond space charts and wormholes, a single black ship floated near a red star. Inside, a small crew of humans watched the galaxy. They had no flag. No orders. Just purpose. One whispered, "They understand now." Another nodded. "We were never trying to win," he said. "We were just trying to wake them up." The captain, a woman with silver eyes and a calm voice, smiled. She looked at the stars one last time, then closed her eyes and said, "Let them remember. That is enough." The ship vanished. Not in light, not in speed, but into memory. And so the war ended. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. A whisper carried in starlight that still echoes whenever someone dares to speak the name human.